एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल द सोलफुल डायरी। जैसे कि आपको पता है, हम पिछले वीडियोस में प्रोलॉग टू द कैंटरबरी टेल्स को लाइन बाय लाइन डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। तो आज के वीडियो में हम लाइंस 270 से 330 तक डिस्कस करेंगे। अगर कोई डाउट है तो आप हमें कमेंट सेक्शन में ड्रॉप कर सकते हैं। Lines 270 to 284. The merchant is apparently a prosperous explorer who likes to talk of his prosperity. He is concerned about pirates and profits, skillful in managing exchangeable rates, but tight-lipped about business details. A merchant was there with a forked beard, that is one of the fashionable ways of wearing a beard in motley, and high on horse he sat, upon his head a Flandrish beaver that his boot clasped fair and fetisly. His reason he spoke full solemnly, sounding always the increase of his winning. He would the sea were kept for anything betwixt Middleburg and Orwell. Well could he in exchange shield sell. This worthy man, full wet, his wit beset, there rised no white that he was in debt. So stately was he of his governance, with his bargains and with his chevisance. Forsooth he was a worthy man withal, but sooth to say I not how men him call. A merchant was there. He had a folk beard. The clothes that he wore were multicolored, and he sat high on his horse. On his head he wore a Flemish beaver hat. His boots were fastened neatly and elegantly. He expressed his opinions in a most solemn manner, always announcing an increase in his business profits. He wanted that the sea between the port of Middleburg and the river Orwell should be guarded at any cost against the danger from pirates. It should be in big bargaining. He showed a knack for selling at a profit that French crowns which he received for his goods. This worthy man never felt confused or puzzled, but always retained his wits. He conducted his dealings, his bargains, and his borrowings with such dignity that no one came to know that he was in debt. He was truly a worthy man, moreover, but the fact is that I do not know what his name was. Lines 285 to 308. The clerk is the first admirable church member we meet on the pilgrimage. Clerk meant a number of related things: a cleric, a student, a scholar. This clerk is all three, devoted to the love of learning and of God, the quintessential scholar who would rather buy a book than a coat or a good meal. Totally unworldly. A clerk. There was of Oxenford also, that onto logic had long go, as lean was his horse as is a rake, and he was not right fat I undertake, but looked hollow, and thereto soberly, full threadbare was his overest courtesy, for he had gotten him yet no benefice, nor was so worldly for to have office. For him was lever have at his bed head 20 books clad in black or red, that is, bound in black or red, of Aristotle's and his philosophy, that ropes rich or fiddle or gay psaltery. But albeit that he was a philosopher, yet had he but little gold in coffer. But all that he might of his friends hint on books and on learnings he had spent, and busily can for the soul's prey of them, that gave him wherewith to schole of student took he must most care and most heed, not one word spoke he more than was needed, and that was spoken form of and reverence, and short and quick and full of high sentence, sounding in moral virtue was his speech, and gladly would he learn, and gladly did that tending to eloquent with. There was also a clerk of Oxford who had studied logic for a long time. He had a horse which was thin like a rake, and I might add he himself could not be called fat because he always looked hollow-cheeked and was in addition self-restrained or sober. His outer cloak was absolutely worn out because he had not yet been able to obtain the rectorship of any parish church and because he was not worldly enough to seek a job. He would rather have at his bed's head 20 books bound in black and red of Aristotle and his philosophy than acquire rich garments or a fiddle or a gay harp. But although he was a philosopher, he had hardly any gold in his possession. On the contrary, he spent on books and learning all the money that he might get from his friends, and he devoutly prayed for the welfare of the souls of those who provided him with the resources for his studies. He was most careful and most diligent in the pursuit of his studies. He did not even speak a word more than was necessary, and what little he spoke was spoken in the most appropriate and modest manner. He spoke briefly and animatedly. What he spoke was pregnant with noble thoughts. His speech was eloquent with moral virtue, and he took pleasure in both learning and teaching. 309 to 330. The sergeant of a law is a successful but unostentatious high-ranking lawyer who sometimes functions as a judge. We are told with just a touch of irony that he is like many of the pilgrims, the very best at what he does, a busy man, yet he seemed busier than he was. A sergeant of the law, variant and wise. That is, a lawyer of the highest degree chosen from the most eminent senior members of the bar that often had been at the Purvis, that is, was the perch of St. Paul's Cathedral. There was also full, rich of excellence. Discreet he was and of great reverence. He seemed such, his words were so wise. Justice he was full often in assize sittings, by patent and by plain commission, for his science and for his high renown of fees and robes had he many a one, so great a purchaser was nowhere none. All was fee simple to him in effect, nowhere so busy a man as he there and yet he seemed busier than he was. In terms had he case and doom solved, that from the time of King William were full. Thereto he could indict and make a thing. There could no weight pinch at his writing, and every statue could he plain by rote he rode, but homely in a medley coat, girt with a certain saint of silk, with bare small of his added tell I no longer tale. There was also a sergeant of law, a lawyer of the highest degree. He was vigilant and wise. He had often visited the cathedral porch where lawyers congregated. He was a most excellent man in his profession. He was discreet and worthy of great respect. At least he appeared to be worthy of great respect because his words were full of wisdom. Often at court sessions held in the country, he functioned as a judge by virtue of a letter for appointment from the king and being commissioned to hear cases of all sorts. He had acquired a large number of robes and much wealth from his clients because of his knowledge and his high reputation. No buyer of land as great as this lawyer was known to exist anywhere. When he bought any land, he managed to acquire unrestricted possession of it. His purchases of land could not be challenged in a court of law. There was nowhere a man as busy as he, and yet he made it appear that he was busier than he actually was. He could quote all the court case and judgments that had taken place since the time of King Williams the Conqueror. He could so draw up and draft a legal document that no man could find any fault in his writing, and he could quote from memory every statute he wrote wearing a multicolored coat and without trying to attract attention. His coat was belted with a silk girdle having small stripes. I wish to dwell no further on his apparel. थैंक यू। आई होप आज की वीडियो आपको पसंद आई। कैसी लगे हमें कमेंट करके बताएं, और अगर कोई सजेशंस हो तो वो भी आप कमेंट में हमें बता सकते हैं। अगर वीडियो अच्छी लगी तो लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू माई चैनल। मिलते हैं कल एक और इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो के साथ शाम 4 बजे। Till then, keep watching and keep supporting the Soulful Diary. Thank you.